This week on Dateline Abuja, we speak with an energy expert on the construction work along the 330 kV Jos Bauchi Gombe transmission line to connect the new Bauchi 330 kV transmission substation to the grid, and the new plan to modernize the TCN, that's the Transmission Company of Nigeria, by splitting it into two companies, the Independent System Operator, ISO, and the Transmission Service Provider, TSP. What does all this mean? And where are we on the transmission side of things in Nigeria's ever-complex power sector? Meanwhile, we take you around some of the projects being commissioned by the FCT Minister all across the nation's capital in commemoration of President Bola Tinubu's second year in office. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's start off with a rundown of all that happened this week in Nigeria's presidency.
Before traveling to Benue State, President Bola Tinubu directed security chiefs to implement his earlier directive to bring lasting peace and security to Benue State. According to the statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu renewed his order in the wake of the latest round of reprisal attacks that led to the death of many people. On the president's directive, intelligence chiefs, the police and the military arrived in the state to direct security operations and restore sanity. President Tinubu equally charged the governor of Benue State to convene reconciliation meetings and dialogue among the warring parties to end the incessant bloodshed and bring lasting peace and harmonious coexistence between farmers, herders, and communities. Arriving in Benue State, the President Bola Tinubu again tasked the Inspector General of Police and the Chief of Defense Staff to find the perpetrators of the Yelewada killings. He gave the order during a town hall in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Also, President Bola Tinubu on Thursday commissioned several projects executed by the administration of Governor Obasani of Kaduna State, commending the governor for promoting inclusive governance and restoring peace and harmony in the state. Commissioning the 3 institutes of vocational training and skill development centers, the 300-bed specialist hospital, over 100 subsidized CNG mass transit buses, and various completed roads. President Tinubu described Governor Obasani as an agent of change and stability in Kaduna State.
I have it on good authority that we can move to Bringing Glory today and at midnight without fear of attack. Peace is the hallmark of development. That's why you are able to channel a vision that is sharp and yielding results. Thank you, Governor, for a good job you are doing.
The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to empowering micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria through enhancing access to finances and creating opportunities to network with investors across the world. Briefing State House correspondents ahead of the upcoming African Union MSMEs Forum to be hosted in Abuja, the planning committee led by the Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs, Mr. Tolani Adekunle Johnson, says business owners from across Africa will participate in the event.
Some MSMEs will own their own shops. So we'll be giving out shops to SMEs. So some people will come, some of the finalists will come from their different states as business owners, not even knowing how they will pay their next rent. They will live here, owning their own shop. So we want, the president works hard a lot. He's a very bold president. And this is reform agenda. So when he leaves office, many years to come, once office, I want people to be able to tell you that under President Tinubu's administration, I did not know anybody. I applied for a scheme. I now own my own shop.
The suspended lawmaker representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has been arraigned by the federal government at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory on a 3-count charge for allegedly defaming the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and former Governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello. The senator, who was accompanied to the court by her husband and associates, pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to her. The presiding judge, Justice Chizoba Orji, subsequently granted her bail in the sum of 50 million naira and one reasonable surety in the like sum.
Our client has been arraigned. She's been granted bail. We intend to cope and comply with the conditions of bail, and we are ready for trial. The matter has been adjourned. Pray for us and wish us good luck.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has sealed TLS Contact Processing Services Limited, a visa application center in Abuja, over poor and questionable services to applicants. The center, located in the Central Business District of Abuja, was accused of unfair treatment and exploitative practices against visa applicants. The Director of Surveillance and Investigations at the Commission, Mrs. Bola Dale Adeyinka, said the Commission had issued summons to the management on March 14, 2024 and June 17, 2025. But the company failed to honor or respond to both. She stressed that the Commission would not tolerate non-compliance from service providers who subject Nigerians to substandard or unjust practices.
Welcome back. The FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, promised to commission projects for 19 days in celebration of the President's second year in office. And he delivered. Kudos to him. These are some of the highlights of these projects commissioned right here in the nation's capital since the 10th of June this year. June the 10th, 2025, was the date set by the FCT Minister to begin project commissioning in the Federal Capital Territory as part of activities to mark President Bola Tinubu's second-year anniversary. And the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, kept his word. The project commissioning will last for a total of 19 days, according to him, and will spread across both the city and satellite towns. Beginning with the newly rehabilitated International Conference Center, now named after President Bola Tinubu. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory thanks the President for being an exemplary leader. He also touched on the need to maintain the facility optimally.
If you are not the kind of person who would have not done this work, pressure came left, right, and center. You said, go ahead and rehabilitate that place. And we thank God for showing that leadership. And that's what we have always said. Our problem is leadership. When you have the right leadership, things will get done. And this is what you have shown today. Mr. President, I thank you. How do we sustain this? I want to let everybody know, whether you're a ministry, whether you're an agency, you want to use this, you have to pay something. You have to pay. That's the only way it can be sustained.
Finishing his speech, it is clear he is a happy man. The president, visibly elated, stated that under the Renewed Hope agenda, infrastructure will be restored across key sectors.
Don't pay attention to the busybody and the bystanders. Whatever they say, continue with your good work. You are a transformational leader. You have the foresight, the vision, and determination to succeed. The International Conference Center is part of our country's larger vision to become a hub for regional diplomacy, continental trade discussions, global partnership, and many more thoughtful, well-outlined goals that reflects our Nigerian first.
Next is the commissioning of a state-of-the-art bus terminal in the Mabushi area of the FCT. The Mabushi bus terminal is one of the 3 facilities in the FCT designed to replace chaotic roadside pickup points with a structured, secure, and well-monitored transport hub. The Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, is again assuring residents of the FCT of first-class infrastructure.
In terms of security, we're trying to reduce the level of motor parks on the road. We're trying to eliminate this so-called one chance. Here, you know those who are drivers, so that you know the vehicle you are boarding to go to the other place.
During the commissioning of Stage 2 of the Outer Southern Expressway in the nation's capital, which links Apo and Wasa districts to Kabusa and other adjoining districts, Mr. Wike said he will ensure that the relocation of APO mechanics comes to fruition under his administration.
All of us, as politicians, yes, we must criticize. Yes, there's no doubt about that. But in criticizing too does not mean that you don't see. We are not flagging off. We are commissioning. People are criticizing, oh, International Conference Center. You know, there are people naturally that don't have good taste. They don't have good taste. We have told the mechanics here, they said since 2011, they have promised them they will relocate them, they will do this. Ours, it will not be promised. Ours is that we are going to do it. And Mr. President, we are not only going to do it, I will supervise it, I will chair the relocation.
The Greater Abuja Water Supply Project, which was awarded in 2017 for over $470 million, was also commissioned. The project is set to triple the city's water supply capacity and expected to serve over 2.5 million residents across about 50 districts in the FCT. President Tinubu uses the opportunity to speak on the situation in Benue State.
Why I sympathize with the Benue people, I've spoken to the governor. The leadership and people of Benue should accept our condolences and tried hard, very, very consciously, to maintain peace, harmony among themselves. I've always said this, that we are one single huge family living in the same house, stay in different rooms, but living together in harmony will be the result of our diversity for prosperity. We should be able to manage our anger and frustrations. I sympathize those who have lost their life. I will adjust my program and go see Benue people on Wednesday.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also flags off the construction of a new headquarters for the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Abuja. The project, a 5-story building with several conference halls, a 1,000-seat capacity auditorium, a media center, and a museum to serve as a repository for the physical and digital history of elections in Nigeria, is expected to be completed within 2 years. The special guest of honor, President Bola Tinubu, describes the project as a bold step towards protecting democracy.
We are committed to ensuring that INEC is fully equipped, not only in infrastructure, but in law, policy, and resources to carry out its constitutional mandate with courage, fairness, and excellence. By initiating this project, the FCT Minister has taken another important step towards the protection of our democracy in this country.
More projects are expected to be commissioned in the coming days, and the FCT residents are assured that education and healthcare are not being ignored as they make up part of the projects to be commissioned in celebration of the president's 2 years in office. FCT residents are also charged to view these commissioned infrastructure as theirs. We shift gears now to the power sector, particularly the transmission side of things, with our energy expert, Mr. Bode Fadipe, who used to be the spokesperson of the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Where are we with vandals of electricity infrastructure, which has been blamed for grid collapses? Are discos still managing obsolete transmission equipment? Well, my guest says he's dissatisfied with the current state of the Nigerian electricity supply industry, calling for drastic changes, the removal of incompetent individuals in key positions, and urges the National Assembly to take decisive action in enforcing accountability within the sector. Mr. Fadikbe, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's talk electricity.
Yep.
From the transmission side of things.
Okay.
The last time we heard, there was some plan to modernize transmission of electricity in Nigeria. So the TCN was divided into two companies. Explain that to us and how that helps with the transmission of electricity.
Okay. Before now, transmission company was made up of three components. What you call the transmission service provider, and then what you call the independent system operator. And then, of course, you also had the market operations. The market operations deals essentially with the funds that comes in and the appropriation of the funds to the different sector players so that they can continue with their operations. So, for the transmission service provider, they deal essentially with those physical materials that you can see, particularly the ones that traverse the thick vegetation, and in some urban locations. I mean, given the fact that we are in Abuja, let me give the example of Katampe or even Apo. You see those heavy conductors and all of those things. Transmission service provider handles part of those things. And then you have the NISO, Nigeria Independent System Operator. They handle what you might want to call the intangible part of it, the electricity, the load management essentially. So for purpose of efficiency, we have seen a situation where the two of them have been separated so that the NISO can deal with the load management. In the event of a delinquent market participants, they can cut them off. So you can have a situation where, for instance, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company becomes delinquent. They can cut them off. You can have a situation where there is problem in load management. They take all of those decisions and things like that. Then the transmission service provider, and I need to focus more on this, because of the pain they go through, they suffer vandalism. And that's a major issue. Between January till, about this time of the year, they have suffered about 50 different forms of vandalism. And we have had that situation, about 24 of that situation coming up in the north and part of it coming up in the south. And there are various reasons for. The issue of vandalism has continued to plague the ability of the transmission company of Nigeria to deliver on its mandate.
Electricity installations are under the purview of the NSCDC, am I correct?
Because they are critical assets.
Because they are critical assets.
If you say, yes, under their purview, but they cannot do it alone. All security agencies. And if you recall, there was a time that the entire north was cut off for 2 weeks.
Yes.
All security agencies were moved in that direction.
To protect the installation.
Exactly.
So what's the issue? Why does the vandalism continue if the police and other security agencies are tasked with protecting this infrastructure? Is there some kind of complicity going on here?
No, this is a fantastic question. Complicity, I'll be very, very careful in explaining it. If you say complicity between the vandals and any other person, well, it's impossible for one person to commit a crime. So if that is the understanding of complicity, I do agree with you. No matter the number of police we have, no matter the number of soldiers, they cannot stand by each of the towers and protect. It's not possible. All over the country, they don't have that manpower.
Outside this country, is that not how it is done? In fact, they use technology, their drones, monitoring going on. What are we talking about? If we're talking about critical national assets, how can we be saying that we've deployed, but they cannot do all of it?
No.
Critical national assets.
The point I'm trying
Don't
to
we
make,
have examples outside this country?
The point I'm trying to make is that you cannot put a human being for each tower. That's the point I'm trying
technology.
to make. But technology has come in now, and I like the point that you have raised. Now they have to patrol with drones.
Are they doing that?
Yes. You will see that At least of recent, you have not heard of the case of vandalism again. That is because more activities is being driven technologically, so that you can see for real time exactly what is going on. Not that alone, because technology also has its own limitation. You need to work with the local communities. They are, to a large extent, they can even be much more effective, because they can now ensure physical stoppage of whoever is going to interfere or with any of these critical assets.
You used to be spokesperson of the Abuja Electricity Distribution
Exactly.
Company. I remember how I remember how much that we were calling your phone every day across the FCT.
Yes.
Now, what we've seen, in recent months is that communication between the AEDC and the users in Abuja has been better. We always see tweets, they send messages.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
But the truth is, there are still many underlying issues. We still have people bypassing constantly. And then there are rumors out there that there might be complicity with the staff of AEDC in those who are bypassing. While many people in the FCT pay band A. So that's 4 units per 1,000. But you still have people in that category who are bypassing. That's one of the issues, the issue of complicity. Then there's also the fact that once it rains, the light goes off. We understand that this happens around the world. But the truth is, if you're paying for a premium on electricity, why aren't you getting that service?
Inevitably, you will always have the bad eggs. At the risk of using religious explanation, even with the 12, there was one bad guy at that level. So
are there checks? At least you were with AEDC.
Definitely.
Are there checks for errant staff like that?
I know, and I can tell you for free, and I don't think that kind of system will ever change. There will always be penalty for infraction. I know of people who were sent out. It's just that it was not necessary to start doing publication. And say, okay, this person
Maybe it is necessary now.
Perhaps name and shame. Name and shame. So that the public will have that confidence that anybody who is caught doing the wrong thing is also being punished for doing the wrong thing. There must be accountability. Then talking about premium service. If you don't get premium service, you have a responsibility to complain. First of all, to your service provider. If your service provider is not responding, you go to the forum office that has the responsibility to take your complaint. That forum office is a quasi-judicial body that takes decision that the DISCO that your service provider is supposed to implement. If they take a decision and your service provider is not implementing, you go to the level of NEC. If NEC is not doing anything, you go to court. It's your right. But you must follow those administrative procedures. You must exhaust the conflict resolution process before you can go to the apex level, which is a court. Otherwise, you are likely to be sent back. But the point I'm trying to make is this: the vandal at the cottage level, at the domestic level, is not different from the vandal at the transmission level. And transmission suffer more terribly because the amount of capital that is required to replace is extremely huge. The number of people that are thrown out, we are not even talking about number now, we are talking about states. In some instances, the entire country.
So your solution as we leave?
My solution as we leave is this. One, the communities must be ready to take ownership, in quotes, of the items in the community. They must help this country because it is passing through their land. And once they say, when you see something, say something. When they see anything going around Kurukere movement using the street lingo. When you see anybody walking around, we know they know them. They know those who are coming to do the wrong thing there. So they should be able to give information very quickly so that there can be a response to that kind of SOS.
Mr. Fadik, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for being with us on Dateline Abuja. Good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being with us this week on Dateline Abuja. Please join the conversation online using the social media handle showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.